You got to a point where you wanted to give up and quit. What do you think if you did quit? Let's just think about this hypothetically. If you did quit and you did go back to Nigeria, what kind of thoughts would you be having now if you did do that?
No, 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 no. If I had done that, then I'm a loser. I mean,
Okay.
that's just it. If I had quitted then, I'm a loser because going back home, you know, it's not that I have a luxuries waiting for me back home. It's not that there are fortunes waiting for me back home. If I had done that, I mean, I would have been a loser because even among my contemporaries back home, they will look down at me and like, okay, what's wrong with you? You had the privilege of going there and you came back. I mean, come on.
Mhm. Hey everyone, and welcome to Immigrants of Canada, a show that features immigrant stories of hope, struggle, victory, and everything in between. I'm your host, Suzette Smith, and today I'm chatting with my new friend, Emcee Bernardinho. Welcome to the show, MC. How are you?
I'm great.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me too.
So, I just thought we would start by uh, talking a little bit about Nigeria. You came from Nigeria, and I thought we would just set the scene by you telling us what it was like to grow up there.
All right. Thank you very much for the privilege of having me on your platform today. Thank you very much. You're really doing a good job. I must say that. And yeah, just like you rightly said, I'm Nigerian before I became Canadian. So I was born and raised in Nigeria. I mean, I spent a lot of my years in Nigeria growing up from my primary school, high school days up onto the university level. And I worked in Nigeria for quite some years. So I mean, growing up in Nigeria, I mean, if you don't know, I mean, most of the viewers will know Nigeria is one of the third world countries, a developing country. So there are a lot of challenges, and
Mhm.
but I mean, we'll still have to try as much as possible to make ends meet to try to do what we can do in the midst of things that are not right, corruptions, and so many things. But we still try as much as possible. I still try as much as possible to raise my head up high. And at the point in time, I felt, okay, let me try coming abroad. And that was what led me to immigrating into Canada. So growing up in Nigeria is challenging stuff, but at the same time, too, it was fun. I mean, growing up among your friends, your peer groups was fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, you used to the communal life, and so those were the things that when I came into Canada, I still miss up until today. Back home in Africa, in Nigeria, we have this communal lifestyle that we grow up together. You can always go to your neighbor's door, go knock your neighbor's door. I mean, the affinity is there, right?
Yeah,
But here in Canada, it's a different culture, different lifestyle.
right.
But yeah,
Well, that's always an extra comfort I find when you grow up around the same people that you knew from when you were a child or family. It always provides that extra sense of comfort for you, you
that's true.
know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
And there's
mean,
something that there's nothing that can beat that feeling, I feel, you know?
that's true. That's true. I mean, it's so I must say when I came into Canada some like 7 years back, it was really tough for me for the first 2 3 years blending into the system. You're used to this kind of, I don't want to say communal life once again. I mean, whereby you can always chat with your neighbor. But here in Canada, you might be living with your neighbor for 2 3 4 years. You guys might not even be saying hi. I mean, it's a different lifestyle. It's not that your neighbor is not nice, but it's
Right.
just the lifestyle here. I mean, it's nobody goes into anybody. Everybody respects their own privacy and stuff like that. But back home, I mean, there's nothing like privacy. I mean, you can always, you know,
Everyone knows each other's business,
you
basically.
understand? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And everybody knows one another, and they're like, yes,
So it sounds like Nigeria is very community based,
that's
whereas
true.
Canada is very, well, it's more so individual.
Yes, I don't want to, Canada is because, Canada is a land of immigrants. So everybody's coming from different background, different cultures and stuff like that. So maybe that's why everybody is trying to respect his or her space and doesn't want the encroachment from another party, right? And, it's understandable. I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up in Nigeria was fun for you. What kind of things did you like to do in your free time? What kind of things did you study? What was your life like before moving to
Okay,
Canada?
okay. Yeah, I'll try as much as possible to summarize that for you, because if I go into details, we might not even have enough time to go into details. But I'll start by saying that, up until when I understand myself, in high school, I schooled in Lagos, which is one of the biggest province or state, as you want to call it. And it was fun. At the point in time when it was time for me to go to high school, I went a little bit to the north, to the northern part of Nigeria, where I did my high school. And
Right.
after that, was time for me to go to the university, right? And I also went to the northern parts for my university too. So, and after my university, I had to come back to the south, where I worked for some few years. So growing up in Nigeria is fun because I try as much as possible to diversify. I've been to the north. I was born in the west. I schooled in the north, and I work in the south. So I try as much as possible to touch all the parts. And so in terms of my hobby, and part of what my hobby is, I like to associate with people. I'm an extrovert by nature. I like to relate with people. That's my style. And likewise, too, on my spare time, my hobbies are soccer. So that's what I do. I play soccer, even if it is not at professional level, but I play soccer within my peer groups. And also, I love to watch soccer. So if I'm not doing anything, probably I'm at home, even in Canada. If I'm not doing anything at my spare time, especially weekends, I will definitely be caught watching soccer. So because that's what I grew up. So I love soccer a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And I noticed that you use the word soccer instead of football.
Yes, thank you. Because when I came to Canada, those are the cultures that I learned in Canada. In Canada, when you come in here and you tell them football, the only thing they know is American football, right? So it's quite different from we back home. We call it football,
Oh, okay.
but here in Canada, football is different. So here it's soccer. So it's kind of different. It's part
Oh,
of
okay. So
culture
that was
here.
a change for you. It wasn't like you guys called it
Those are
soccer.
part of things I learned. Yes, those are part of the things that I learned when I came into Canada. I mean, okay, let me really quickly tell you this. Part of the things I learned in Canada within my first 1 year, I went to the grocery store just to go get just a snack. Okay, so when I got in there and I want to get the drink, and the man, the owner of the store told me to go into the fridge to go pick up a pop.
Yeah.
And back home, there's nothing like we don't know pop, right? It's either you call it Coke or you call it Pepsi, whatever you want to call it. So I went into the fridge and I was looking for pop. That's also because I never knew that that's the general name, right? So it was kind of funny for me, but those are the first things that I learned when I came into Canada. Different style, different names for different things. Like back home in Nigeria, we call it toilet. Here, you have to call it washroom and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
different stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, those terms are different. I just imagine you scanning the aisles looking for a brand pop.
You understand, right? So
Yeah.
so at the point in time, the guy had to come over there and tell me, yo, what are you waiting for? That's it right there. And that was how I learned it. But it's okay. We learn every day.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like your life, like this was your life in Nigeria.
Yes.
So then what got you thinking to move to Canada? What events sort of led you to that final decision?
All right. Thank you very much for that question once again. So growing up in Nigeria, if you have friends in Nigeria or if you are acquainted with Nigeria, just like I said, is a developing nation. And a lot of corruption. Bad leadership, just to say bad leadership. And things are not done right. So an average youth in Nigeria, you're always disturbing your parents at the point that you want to leave the country, especially when you see on internet, when you can see what is obtainable in the global world. You're always, trying to push among your peer groups. Okay, how can I? Even universities, people want to leave. Even if you're in your third or fourth year in the university, if you have a privilege to go abroad, people are always, the push out factors are there for you to just get out of the country, right? So it was the same for me too. So, but I eventually finished my university, and when it was time, I was looking for job. That's another challenge back up, right? So I was looking for job, and I was in Lagos, the western part. I was looking for job. So there's this friend of mine, he's also in Canada too. We saw a souvenir, a flyer of some universities in the UK coming into Lagos to come and sensitize people on some universities too. So we went there and we attended. And at the end of the day, the tuition fee was so huge that we know that our parents could not afford it because we were not definitely born with a silver spoon. So we never gave up, despite the fact that we could not attend those schools in the UK. So some few months after, we also saw another flyer for some universities and colleges in Canada coming into Lagos to sensitize people. We had to rake in the money. That's why there was no money, but we had to just get the transport fare, transport ourselves there. And when we got there, we attended the seminar, we got the brochure, the flyer, everything. So we went back home too. There was no money. How could we do it? At the point we had to discuss with our parents. I discussed with my parents. So when I told my parents, I lost my dad. I lost my dad at the very some few years back prior to me leaving Nigeria. So I told my mom and I told my sister. So I have this elder sister that she ever since she was young too, she always wanted to travel out of the country. So it was easy for me to convince her to buy into the idea of I want to leave the country, right? But the major challenge, like I said, was the money, the tuition fee and stuff. But I was able to give it to my sister and my mom. They were like, okay, let's continue to see what you can do about it. So while I was trying to see if I could raise the finance, I was also looking for a job on the other side. And my friend also, we were trying to see how we can go about it. And in the year 2000 and I think that would be 2011 or 2000 and thereabouts, I eventually got a job in the telecoms that made me leave the western part and I went to the southern part of Nigeria. That was where I was posted. So the moment I got a job, the enthusiasm to travel, plummet a little bit. I was not so much enthusiastic about going abroad again because I already got a job. So the next thing was for me to settle down, have a family, and Right. So I went to the southern part, and I was working with this telecom company. And this friend of mine, he was still in Lagos, working in Lagos. He was still, because he was closer to the resources in Lagos, he was still pushing for the traveling stuff. He was able to convince his parents, and he eventually took them to an agency in Canada, an agency that helps people to travel. Mm-hmm. So he took them there, and they were able to sensitize the parents. And eventually, to cut the long story short, few months while I was in the South, my friend left for Canada. He just called me and he told me, oh, he's going next week and stuff. And before you know it, he called me from Canada that he's in Canada. Wow. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Okay. I was still not gingered enough to continue the process. Yeah. Some few, 2-3 weeks after, my elder sister, husband, that's my in-law, right? He also traveled to Canada to study. Oh my God. And that was when my sister had to call me and she was like, okay, this is Nigeria. Nothing is stable. You have a job today, tomorrow anything can happen. They can tell you there's no more job for you and stuff like that. You need to plan for yourself, for your future. So that was when I'm like, okay, I had to resurrect the passion to travel. So immediately I called a friend of mine that is now in Canada studying. I told him, okay, let's bring this up again. So I sent my documents to him. He was able to secure admission for me at Humboldt College. And after the admission in my hand, the next thing was for me to apply for the visa, right? And which is the tough part. So in applying for the visa, don't forget I said I was in the South. And in the South, there's little to nothing that I can do. Most things can be done in Lagos, which is like the hub. So I had to contact an agency through my elder sister. And I submitted all the documents, paid the money required. And she began in earnest, did the documentation for me and submitted my application. So 4 or 5 months down the line after the submission, still in 2013, this happened in 2013. Okay. So after the submission, and I remember on December 17th, I was on site in the South working with the telecom company, right? I was on site and I received a call from my agent and she told me that the visa was denied. I mean,
Oh,
at that point, nobody knew what was going on around me. I had to excuse myself. I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, what I waited for like 5-6 months, rejected.
oh
And
no.
she, after some few seconds, she was quick to tell me that, oh, Ben, I'm just joking. You're lucky, you got it. And oh my God, immediately I was filled with passion. And at that point, I knew that that's it. I
It
tell
was
you
a
that.
joke then. She played a joke on you, basically.
Yeah, she played it. I mean, it was a very, very, very big joke. I mean, yeah, but it's okay. I was so happy at the end of the day. So at that point in time, my school, that was December 17th, my birthday. That was the greatest gift I received in a long time. That was December 17, 2013. So my school is resuming January 12th, if I could remember, 2014. So within that period of time, I had to find a way of designing, getting a flight ticket, getting things done, so within that short period of time, I had to like tell my manager, blah, 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 do all the necessary things I have to do the handover. And before you know it, January 12th, I took a flight and I touched down in Pearson International Airport in Toronto.
Yeah, what was that like
Yeah.
to touch Canadian soil, touch down on Canadian soil? How did that feel?
It was, I can't forget January 12th, 2014. It was a different ball game. You know why? It's because the moment the flight was close to touching down, you could see the scenery, lights everywhere. Back home, I mean, light, but there's no light, there's no water. You have to probably provide everything for yourself. So when you see the scenery, everything there, lights everywhere at the airports. My first time traveling abroad, so it was really very, very. I can't find the right word right now to describe it. It was really, really intriguing.
Yeah, it sounds surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like flipping from the developing nation to a developed nation.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun day for me.
Wow, that sounds incredible. And so, okay, so then that means everything just changed so drastically for you.
Just like that. Within the twinkle of an eye. And I must say that it's not that but when I submitted my visa, I remember the agent also submitted for like 3 or 4 people at the same time with me. I was the only one that was fortunate to get it. It was not because I was the best candidate as at that time. You can't rule out the element of luck. God, because we are spiritual back home too. So it was. I just want to say that for me to get it, that means it was divine from above.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it totally. It's like winning the lottery.
That's true. That's true. Because it's a total change around, right? Because that's an average family back home in Nigeria. If your son or your daughter travels to the US or to the UK or to Canada, Australia, the developed nation, that could be a total turnaround for the family right there, because that person will probably just become the breadwinner, and things will turn around for the family. So an average family back home in Nigeria, the mother and the father, they're trying all their best to make sure that their son or their daughter, they finance he or she to foreign lands, so that things can turn around for the family for good.
Right. Yeah. Were there any moments that you felt like you were scared?
Well, scared. Okay, I wouldn't want to say scared. Because don't forget, when I came into Canada, that friend of mine, he was at the airport to pick me, and so it was so subtle for me coming into Canada, because I landed into a familiar face, and he was able, because he was here like 8-9 months before me, so he was able to tell me the do's and don'ts. So the settling down for me was a bit easy for me, and also I was able to meet the Nigerian community, so it was kind of easy for me to settle down very fast. And I was told the do's and don'ts. Like as at then, when I came in, I can't walk, so because you don't have a work permit, you only have a study permit. So it was kind of easy for me to settle into the system. But the only thing is that the culture shock was there for me. Totally different, right? Now it's not that you don't see the whites back home, but they are not as much as when you come into Canada. You have to interact with them, And also another major challenge would be the accent. You know, even till now, I'm still learning, right? You know, so I wasn't born here. So the accent is there. I mean, especially when it came into the country. I'm from an English-speaking country, which is Nigeria, but the accent is there, right? So you have to always repeat yourself when you want to speak to someone in Canada, as I'm a Canadian. I mean, so that was a big challenge for me, trying to, you know, relax, speak a little bit, just to make sure they understand you and listen to them attentively, just to make sure you grasp what they are trying to say to you.
Mm-hmm. And what did you study in school? It was Humber College, you said.
Yeah, so right there, I came in January 12th. I resumed into class. I could remember there were like 5 or 6 Nigerians in there. So we formed a bond. I mean, you know, normal stuff, right? So we formed a bond. And the program began in January. By April, we were done with the first semester. We went for like 2 weeks break. And August, we were done. So I studied project management, just like you asked. I studied project management. And by August, the program was done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick.
Okay.
So then what happened after the program was done? What was your next step?
Okay, that's another episode that I have to try as much as possible to summarize for you. So the way it works here, I don't know if you know, as an international student, if you come into Canada to study, if you study a 1-year program, which I did, you're entitled to a 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you do 2 or more years, you're entitled to 3 years postgraduate work permits. So that's what that implies, is that within that 1-year postgraduate work permit that you get, you need to get a job, not any kind of job. There are some specific kind of job you need to get that qualifies you for your permanent residence. Okay. Yeah. So the danger of it is that if you do a 1-year program and you do not go ahead to do another program, which makes it 2 years, that qualifies you for 3 years postgraduate work permit, it is dangerous, because doing a 1-year program entitles you to a 1-year postgraduate work permit. And that means that within that 1 year, the moment you get the 1 year, you need to get a job right away, because it starts counting right there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I could remember in 2014, it was so tough. That was another tough challenge that I faced, because back home, to get the resources, the fund to come into Canada, I was not born with a silver spoon, just like I said. My family borrowed money, loan and stuff, just to put the resources together for me to come into Canada. So there was no way I could go back to my mom again and tell her that I need to do the second program that qualifies me, you know? So I never even want to bug her, because I have siblings too, right? So, and I tried, and there was no way I could work to raise that finance. In the midst of my class members, there were some that were born with affluence. Some of them, they called back home, they were able to get money for the second program. But I remember a friend of mine and we just, in faith, we took the step of faith, and we took the 1-year postgraduate work permit, which I would never advise anybody to do now. We did that, and don't forget, I said my program finished in August. Yep. I was so fortunate. I was so lucky with God. I got a job in September with Amazon.
Okay. So was that project managing it with Amazon? Is that what you did?
No, so it wasn't project management. Initially when I came into Amazon, I came in with an associate member, just a floor member. Okay. It's just like that job actually will not qualify me for the permanent resident. But I had to just take that job first. And after some few months, I was able to apply internally for another position that qualifies me for permanent resident, which is a trainer. So I was in charge of training new hires on the modalities of work, the procedures, safety procedures. So eventually it was that role of a trainer that qualifies me for the permanent residence that I eventually applied for. Okay. So I worked in Amazon from 2014 up until 2016, thereabouts. Okay. Yeah, thereabouts. And eventually, 2015, no, it was 2015. It was 1 year. I worked up until 2015. And after that time, I had to leave that job, because then my work permit expired.
I see.
And the moment it's expired, I never wanted to be an illegal. I never wanted anything to impede my permanent residence, because if the moment you begin to work illegally in Canada, that could actually impede your permanent residence again. So I had to leave that job. It was so sad for my manager. But there was nothing I could do. I had to leave the job, and immediately I had to apply again for a study visa, for a study permit, just to renew my my status in Canada. So
Mhm.
while I applied for that, thinking of going to another school, I was filing in for my permanent resident on the side. And while I was doing that, let me take you back.
Okay.
Before I left Nigeria, I had a girlfriend.
Okay.
Okay. So before I left, while I was telling my mom and sis I will be a good boy, I was telling my girlfriend that I will come back.
Yeah.
Okay. How she was crying, oh my God, oh, is that the end of it? So many people go, they promised they will come back. They eventually didn't come
Yeah.
back. It's not, So I told her, I went to the parents and I said, don't worry, the moment everything goes right, I will come back home. I will get married and I will bring you to Canada. That was, that was a very big one that I actually tried to keep to. So when I
Yeah.
came into Canada, in the midst of trying to look for how I was going to get my papers and stuff like that, I came in 2014. I went back home in 2015, just a year after.
Yeah.
As promised, we got married in March.
Yay!
So
I'm so happy to
while
hear that.
thank you. So while we got married in March 2015, I came back by myself
Hmm.
just to do the filing and stuff, just to make sure she comes to join me.
Right.
So, when I came back, it wasn't so easy as I thought.
Yeah.
At the point in 2015, I left my job. My wife was back home. The pressure was there.
Yeah.
No job, nothing. It was 2016 was a very devastating year for me, in terms of multitasking, and it was like as if the world was going to crumble. At the point in time, I was contemplating going back because everything seems not to work out. My paper wasn't coming out. My wife's pressure was there. I wasn't working and stuff like that. But when you have faith in God, in 2017 January, everything just went from red to green. My wife's application was accepted. Everything went well. We submitted our passport, and before you know it, she came to join me in March of 2017, which was a very
Wow.
good day for me.
Yeah.
And 2 months down the line, our permanent resident status was confirmed, and we landed officially as a permanent resident in Canada. So 2016 was like a year I would never want to remember. But 2017, everything turned around, and that was a sucker.
Wow, that is an incredible story. I don't think I've ever heard something like that before.
That's my journey, right? I want people to learn from my story so that
Yeah.
it can actually help them in making decisions that relates to them.
Right. And kind of to, I wouldn't say erase the fears, but maybe take some of the fears away or ease some of the fear in moving, because I think a lot of, I mean, this is just me thinking, I wouldn't know personally, but I would imagine that maybe many immigrants are afraid to leave their country because they've got so much that they've built up in their home country. They've got family. They might have, if they're, young adults, and they might have a significant other that they don't want to leave behind. They have a job, they've got familiarity. There's just so much sacrifice you have to make to go to a new country. And I think in you telling this story, it kind of, like I said, it won't erase the fears completely, but it can just help ease some of those fears and just help others know that, yeah, even though there are uncertain things, um, somehow it will all work out, and it can work out, you know?
Yes, yes, that's true. That's the morality of the story, right? And just to encourage someone out there that things might be tough, especially coming to a foreign land like Canada as a temporary resident holder. Getting the permanent resident is so tough.
Yeah.
It's not something you just go and pick on the table. Just the only thing is that just try while you're trying to get your permanent resident in Canada, just make sure that you're of good behavior, you're doing things the way it's supposed to do. Because what's the point of it? But because I down the line I met people that while they were studying, they got involved in frivolous things like drink and driving,
Oh
stuff
no.
that actually impeded their permanent residence because they have to go to court cases and stuff like that. So the lesson is just that while you're trying to, you will eventually get it as much as you're doing things right. But
Yeah.
while you're waiting for it, please ensure that you're good behavior and you do things legally.
Yeah, it's all about the waiting season then. Really. It's about how you wait, not how long you wait.
Yes, it's how you wait. That's I like that word. It's how you wait, it's not how long you wait. Yes.
Yeah, I like
But
that too.
another thing is that while you're waiting, there could be so many temptations. Because
Yeah.
I could remember while I was waiting, don't forget that my wife was back home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just try as much as possible to summarize everything for you.
Right.
It's just because it has passed by. That's why it's easy for me to say. When I was inside, there was sometimes I just wake up in the middle of the night and I'm crying on my bed.
Mm.
You know, there was, I mean, my mom could actually testify to that. I'm a very strong boy. I mean, my mom knows me that I'm very strong.
Yeah.
But there was a time I was literally crying. She would call me on the phone and I was crying because it was as if the world was going to crumble.
Yeah.
I told you at the point in time I contemplated going back home because things were not just working out. You submitted application, IRCC, immigration, they are not getting back to you. You don't know if you've done things right or wrong. You're battling with exams just to make sure you get to permanent residence. There's no, you can't work. There's no finance,
Yeah.
You have to rely on friends and family here just to support you and stuff like that. So it was really tough, but I'm glad I scaled through. And I'm talking to somebody that is actually that's facing what I face. You will actually scale through. Just relax and do things right.
Oh, yes. I agree. Yes. No, that's honestly so incredible. Your story is really, really incredible. And I just, you know, yeah, there's really no words for it. I'm just kind of spinning in my head because it's just, yeah. And I can't believe though, you got to a point where you wanted to give up and quit. What do you think if you did quit? Let's just think about this hypothetically. If you did quit and you did go back to Nigeria, what kind of thoughts would you be having now if you did do that?
No. If I had done that, then I'm a loser. I mean,
Okay.
that's just it. If I had quitted then, I'm a loser because going back home, it's not that I have a luxuries waiting for me back home. It's not that there are fortunes waiting for me back home. If I had done that, I mean, I would have been a loser because even among my contemporaries back home, they will look down at me and like, okay, what's wrong with you? You had the privilege of going there and you came back. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been a loser. To just summarize it.
Mm. Wow. So thank God that you made it through and you were able to pull through.
Thank you.
And you're at this point. Kind of switching gears here a little bit, you started a YouTube channel. So Canada Reality. Yeah,
that's me.
So what led you to that? And when did you start your channel?
All right, thank you very much for that question. That's my passion, that's my pet project, and that is close to my heart. Just with the summary of everything that I've told you, you can actually see that I have actually tested the waters. I've seen the process. I mean, from back home where there was nothing, applied for my study through a friend, came in here, studied for 1 year, worked for 1 year. At the point, went back home to go get married, applied for my wife, applied for express entry. So literally, I don't want to call myself a guru in that aspect, but I actually am exposed to a lot of information. I actually know a lot regarding how you can transit going to Canada. I'm not a licensed immigration officer, but I mean, I know about it because I was part of the process. So, and an average Nigerian, I want to talk about Nigerians now. There's no way you'll be in Canada and you are schooled in Nigeria before you came in here. Virtually every week, you will receive calls on your social media messages, people asking you, oh, how can I come into Canada? Ben, how can you help me? Oh, my son wants to come into Canada. My daughter wants to come into Canada. You get that a lot.
Okay.
So, and you find yourself always dishing out information, repeating yourself to somebody today, tomorrow again, so it's kind of repetitive. So I felt at the point in 2019, January to be precise, I thought about it and I'm like, a part of my resolution for the year is that, don't forget I said I'm an extrovert. I like to relate to people. I like to talk. So that's my nature. So I felt, okay, let me create a platform on YouTube whereby people, when they come to me, they need those information because information is key. So let me quickly take you back. When I was back home in Nigeria, the agent that did my visa for me, she never told me that if I do a 1-year program, I'll get a 1-year work permit.
Yeah.
She never told me that information, which is very key. And people are not privileged to that information. So part of those information and lots more are what endeared me to like, okay, let me create a platform where people can always go and pull those information. You can always go there, go on the internet, pull those information. I mean, my YouTube channel is not only geared towards Nigerians alone, Africans, everybody around the world, okay?
Yeah.
So people can always go there, learn about the process. If they have any question, they can drop it in the comment section, and I will try as much as possible to answer them. But when it comes to the critical part that I can't handle, like the refugee people asking me about how can I claim an asylum, whatever, those areas I don't touch it because I always refer them to a lawyer because that's not my jurisdiction. I'm just a YouTuber, I just share information online. When it comes to the integral part of immigration, I'm not licensed and I don't do that. So just to answer your question, it started all the way in January 2019. And what led me to it was the passion to give out information for people so that they can set their foot on the right path.
Okay. Yeah. So in a way, it started out as you being kind of like this advice columnist, people reaching out to you and you're just giving the same advice to everyone. And then you thought, oh, what the heck? I'm just going to create a YouTube channel.
That's correct.
Yeah. So what was that like to create a YouTube channel? Did you feel any fear in doing that? Or was it just like, because you're pretty extroverted, you said?
Yes. So, well, I remember my first video, I shot it in my living room, down in my basement. I just had, I was using Samsung S7 Edge, and I got a tripod because my wife, she's now in, I told you she's in Canada now, right? So
yes.
she does makeup. I got a tripod, I got a lightning, and I just set it up and I did a video. So I remember one of my first videos that the first video I did was the one I told people about how I came into Canada. And that video actually went viral and got me a lot of subscribers and views. So after that video, the next video I did was about the politics in Nigeria. Because I ventured into that, I tested the water for politics. And after doing that first video, the reception I received from it made me like, okay, no. I'm not going for this niche. I'm just going to stay with my niche of immigration. Because, politics is so, it's so sensitive. I mean, reaction from people, I don't want people in my comment section to start, coming for their heads, because of their political affiliation and stuff. So I felt that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I just stick to the immigration, which I feel I have information about, and that was it. So starting for me was a little bit tough. I mean, getting the views. I remember literally when I started, I actually solicited for views, for subscribe from my friends. I've actually, sometimes when I go out, I pick up their phones and I subscribe to my channel on their phone and I make them watch my videos on their phone just for me, because the way the algorithm of YouTube work is that the more people see your videos, the more it goes viral, the more subscribers you get. And at the point in time, that wants to be monetizing your channel, and you can get some proceedings from your channel. So I was literally doing that up until like middle of 2019 when I got monetized on my YouTube channel and my channel started picking up and the likes.
So did it become, in a sense, your full-time job, or was it kind of a job on the side, or?
Okay, Susan, that's a very nice question. For now, that's a pet project for me. That's a side gig for me for now. And the plan eventually is going to be that's going to take over. That's going to be my full-time job. But for now, the proceed I'm getting from it now is not sustainable for my family and I. So that's I'm doing it on the side, and I have a full-time job that I also do.
Wow. And so what's your number one piece of advice then that you share with other immigrants, do you think? What piece of advice do you always return to? Do you notice in your videos that there's a recurring theme?
Well, I mean, the piece of advice I always return to is that don't give up. Because just like I told you earlier on, that back home in Nigeria, I'm talking about Nigeria because that's where I grew up, right? So I'm privy to a lot of information. The push-out factor is huge. I mean, the corruption back home is so much that things are not done right. The social amenities that an average person, like in Canada here, I can turn on my water, the light is there, the roads are there, even the fact that the taxes are high, but I can see what the government is doing with the money, right? But back home, things are the opposite, right? So, you finish, you went to high school, your university or your college as the case is, you're done schooling. I mean, as basic as working in a factory is, it's hard to come by back home. And the money, the take home is nothing to write home about. So the push out factor is so huge. So that's why on my platform, on my YouTube channel, what I keep repeating is that do not give up. No, I mean, you will see some cases whereby some people have applied to come and study 4 times, they've been rejected. And what am I going to do? Some people are in their 40s, they're in their 50s. They're like, okay, can I still come to Canada? Is age not a restriction and stuff like that? So the major thing I keep telling them is that do not give up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I keep telling them that if I can get to Canada, you can also get into Canada too. So I always tell them it's not that back home in Nigeria you can't succeed. I'm not debunking the fact that you can be. Yeah, there are a lot of people that are prospering in Nigeria, youth that are doing great in Nigeria. But that does not deter the fact that back home things are not right. Yeah. You might be flourishing back home, but the system is wrong. So even if you're flourishing back home, I know a lot of people that work with the Shell, in the oil company that are making huge money, but just because of their children, just because of their wife, because of their husband, because of the kids, they want a better life for them. Probably they will stay back in Nigeria and keep earning that huge salary, but the family will be here. So yeah. I always tell them, don't give up. I mean, just keep pushing. And at the point, if you're destined to travel out, either to Canada, Australia, UK, US, which will eventually come out and to eventually work out for you.
That's great advice. And I always like to ask this question. What do you love about Canada? What do you appreciate about it?
Wow. Lots of stuff that I appreciate about Canada. Just like I said, it was like a flip for me, coming from a third world country, coming into a developed nation. I mean, something about the greatest thing I love about Canada is things work. Canada made me understand, when I landed in Canada, it made me understand that I don't have to fight. There are some fundamental things that are basic necessities in life that I'm not supposed to fight for it. Back home, I have to to be back home, you have to provide your electricity to yourself by getting a generator. You have to provide your water yourself by digging a borehole and stuff like that. You have to provide security for yourself by paying someone to secure your life, building fences around your house, and so many things like that. Mm-hmm. So, but when I came into Canada, it was like a mirage for me. I mean, I don't understand. I don't believe that I can actually drive 10, 20 kilometers and not see a pothole and not see, I don't believe that I can actually turn on my water and it's going to rush 24/7. And I can't believe that I can turn on my light 24/7. There will not be power disruption and stuff like that. So that's for me in Canada. That's mouth blowing for me when I came into Canada. Even till now, when you relate with your friends back home and they still tell you some of those things that they are still facing, I mean, you will now begin to think about that. How is that possible for someone to live in 24 hours? You only have light for 2 hours, 3 hours. How can you tell me that insecurity, people are dying on the road and stuff like that? It's so absurd to me now. Maybe because I'm now in Canada for some few years. So those things for me, for Canada, I mean, I dove my hat for that. I mean, the system is working. Not debunking the fact that we are paying huge taxes, but it's okay. We are seeing the dividend of the taxes with the roads and the electricity and stuff like that. So that for me, the system works, and I'm appreciative of that fact.
Wow. Yeah, and just kind of one question that sort of popped into my head while you were talking about that. You said that those that prosper in Nigeria, they like to send other family members to Canada so that they can have a better life. Meanwhile, they stay back in Nigeria. Do you think the reason why they decide not to move to Canada is because there's a bit of fear attached to that? Just in the sense that I'm doing so well here, why risk it all if I'm doing well here? Or what do you think?
All right, so that's a good question. And in answering that question, just like I told you, I'm not here to rubbish my country and say things doesn't work in my country. Okay,
Right, of course.
there are
Yeah.
lots of people that are earning genuine salary back home
Yeah.
that are not corrupt. They are striving very well. They are earning the dividend of their labor. So take for instance people that work in the oil company. Because if you're working in the oil company back home, I mean you're good. You're earning big. You're good. I mean those are taking them like maybe equivalent of Canada. You're taking them like 7,000, 8,000 per month equivalent, right? So
Right.
even me, if I was earning that big in Nigeria, I might not even come here. I might just, my wife and my kids might come here. Because in Canada, I mean, how many people earn 8,000, 7,000, 8,000 every month in Canada? Let's be sincere to ourselves. How many people earn that? People earn that, but I mean, people don't. So if you are privileged, if I have to advise anybody right now back home, if you are earning that big back home, I know you need a better life for your family, for your kids. Maybe you might not be able to get it back home, or even if you get it, you're paying almost through your nose to get it back home. I will advise you that retain that job back home. Your families will be here, studying here. I know a lot of people like that, okay? While you are there, because you're not so sure that when you come into Canada, you will get that particular job that will give you 8,000, 7,000, 10,000 monthly in Canada. So even as much as you cannot vouch to get that kind of job, I will advise you to stay back home. During summer, you can always come in here, see your family, but the finance is there and support your family from back home.
Okay. Thank you for leaving us with some food for thought.
Thank you.
So I just also quickly wanted to ask, for those who wanted to connect with you on social media, where can they find you?
Thank you very much. Okay, so if you want to connect with me, and my YouTube channel is Canada Reality, okay? Canada Reality joined together. And on Instagram, still Canada Reality. On Facebook, I have a group, Canada Reality. On Twitter, Canada Reality, and that's just it. So if you're looking for Canada Reality, you can get that. You can also try to check for Emcee Bernardinho, which will come up with a lot of my videos. But Canada Reality is the brand. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Emcee, and thank you for being on the show.
All right. Just before we leave, I must use this opportunity to tell you that, truth be told, you're doing a brilliant job. Because when you reach out to me, I had the privilege of going on your channel, on your blog, just to see what you do. And I've seen, tons of people that you've interviewed, trying to portray these stories of Canada. People need to know that Canada, in as much as we have our challenges in Canada too, Canada is a nation that was built on immigrants, apart from the Aborigines. So when we have a platform like yours, whereby immigrants like us or people that come after me, or even wherever they are outside Canada, they can always go there and learn about what's the rudiments of Canada in terms of immigration, learn about my culture, another person's culture that you've interviewed, learn about their. So I must comment that you're doing a great job. In the midst of challenges, do not give up, because this platform of yours is actually great and it's destined for greatness.
Thank you. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode. If you liked hearing this story, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel to continue listening to more inspiring immigrant stories. Immigrants of Canada is a show that is financially funded by people like you. If you feel led to contribute financially, please visit www.immigrantofcanada.com/donate. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.